Hey guys, welcome back to Enlightened Turtle. It's your host Kev here. So in today's video, we're going to be doing the reading from Reverend Richard Morgan, the British Kimmeroy. And the first part of the reading is actually a quote within a quote inside the book. So this is Reverend Richard Morgan's account of ancient British history from what he perceives to be from the record. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Long before the Cymry came into Britain, the Llyn, Llyon, or Great Deep, literally the abyss of waters, broke up and inundated the whole earth. The island afterwards known as Britain shared the general catastrophe. One vessel floated over the waters. This was the ship of Nevid Nav Nevion. In it were two individuals preserved, Dwy Van, the man of God, and Dwy Vach, the woman of God. By the posterity of these two, the earth was gradually repopulated. The ship of Nevid Nav Nevion was built in Britain and was one of its three mighty works. For a long time after the subsiding of the deluge, the Cymry dwelt in the summerland between the sea of Afiz and Defrobani. And I'll just pause there for a moment. So we've got a citation here of the ark being built in Britain and the people, or these Brythons, spending time in the land of summer. But I digress for now, and we carry on. The land being exposed to sea floods, they resolved under the guidance of Hugarden to seek again the White Island of the West, where their father Dwy Van had built the ship of Nevid Nav Nevion, literally the work of the creator or creators. I'll pause again. So we've got this. The creators built an ark in Britain that landed in the east, according to Reverend Morgan's account of British history. So this will come into play further in the future. They journeyed westward towards the setting sun, being many in number and men of great heart and strength. Cerdarin, mighty ones / giants. They came in sight of the Alps, and then part of their migration diverged southward. These are the Cymry or Umbri of Italy. The others consisting of the three tribes of the Cymry, the Brython and the Lloegrs, sorry if I mispronounced that, crossed the Alps. Along either side of the Alps, near the sea, part of the Lloegrs settled. These are the Ligurians of Italy and Gaul. Pursuing their course still further, they crossed the river of Eddies, the Slow River, the Rough River, the Bright River, the Rhone, the Arar, the Garonne, and the Loire, till they reached Gaswagin, Gascony, or the Vineland. Thence they turned northward, and part of the Briton settled in a land they named Chlydor, R.Y. More Uche, the land or expansion of the upper sea, America. The Cymry still held onward until they saw the cliffs of the White Island. Then they built ships, and in them passed over the hazy ocean, and took possession of the island. And they found no living creature in it, but bisons, elks, bears, and beavers, plus water monsters. And they took possession of it, not by war, nor by conquest, nor by oppression, but by the right of man over nature. And they sent the Brythons in Chlydor and to the Lloegrs on the continent, and to as many as came they gave the east and the north of the island, and the Cymry dwelt in the west. These are the three Pacific tribes of the Isle of Britain. Because they came in mutual goodwill, peace, and love, and over them reigned Hu, the mighty, the one rightful sovereign of the island, and they called the island the White Island, Yinis Wen, and the island of the mighty ones. Its name, Britain or Pyridane, was not yet known. So that was the end of Morgan condensing a portion of British history into a nice little passage in the book for us. This account is a very striking one. Its date precedes, by many centuries, the earliest traditions of Greece and Rome. Its statements are in entire accordance with the results of the most recent investigations into the origin of languages and nations. If the Cymry are not of the race of Gomer, then the eldest son of Japhet would be the only one of them who left neither name or posterity. This could not have been, for Moses expressly records the sons of Gomer, and the promise of God was that Japhet would be enlarged. All the most ancient writers of Greece and Rome concur in stating that the Cymry or the Gomeridi were under appellations slightly varied. The primogenital or oldest family in the world. Along the first inhabitation, the shores of the Euxine and the Sea of Azov, they were known as Cymry or Cymroi. The peninsula which formed part of their dominions retains their name Cymeria, corrupted into Crimea. South of the Caucasian range, they were called Gomerei or Gomri. This section, allying themselves with the children of Madai, became the Medes of history. Another portion, separating themselves from the main body, called themselves Parthwis, from the Cymric verb parthu, to separate. These, in process of the time, rose to be the formidable empire of the Parthians, or later Persians. Another great division on the route of the nation westward moved along the chain of the Apennines and Upper Cimbri, or dropping the guttural, the Umbri or Humbri of Italy. These became the main stock from which sprung the Latins, Samnites, Sabines, Marsi, and other nations which afterwards formed the Roman Confederacy. The Umbrian was the first empire of Italy. It attained its acme 1200 years before the Christian era, and its duration was celebrated as the Saturnian or Golden Age. Its regal and priestly patriarchs became the gods of the Roman mythology. Their names are significant, defining their characters and offices in the Cymric tongue, but are wholly without meaning in any other language. The base of the population of ancient Italy being Cymric, the base of its language was of course Cymric also, hence the close affinity in vocabulary and construction between the Latin and the Cymric, thousands of words being the same, the termination accepted in each. We know the Latin to be based on the Cymric, not the Cymric on the Latin, because the words common to both are for the most part to be traced to their roots and primitive meanings in the Cymric only. So also the names of the oldest Latin families are of Cymric significance, such as Claudius, Catulus, Ilia, Cato, Pompeius, Lucullus, Camillus, and Marcus. To the Umbrian kings are to be ascribed the gigantic works such as the sewers of Umbrian Rome, the Cyclopean fortress and temples which were constructed in the prehistoric ages of Italy. Their religion was the patriarchal or druidic, Their empire gave way to the Tuscan or Etruscan. 300 of their cities, according to Cato, Pliny, and Solinus, falling into the hands of the conquerors. The Etrurian again gave way in the north Italy about 600 BC to the empire of the British Cimmery under Gallienus and Brennus. The Locrians of ancient Greece were also a sister tribe of the Cimmery, their name and dialect being the same as those of the Ligurians, Locrians, Chloregians of the Lower Alps, Piedmont, and of southern Britain. I apologise, by the way, guys, there's a lot of words I've never tried to enunciate before. Many of the most important positions in Armenia and around the Caucasus retain their primitive Cymric names. Gumri, the chief fortress and headquarters of the Russian forces. Erevan, on the peak which Erevan is. Kars, the stone fort. Trapezond, or Trapezuntrum, meaning the lower town. So also the great natural features of Europe retain the names assigned them by the Cimmery when they first penetrated into its uninhabited forests and silent plains. Alp in Cymric is the rocky mount, Apennine the white heads, Cevennes the backs or ridges, Pyrenees the spires, Don the wave, Tagus the stream, Lori the bright river, Powell or Howl the marsh, Ren or Rhine the flooding river, Arar the slough. Recent events have enabled us to compare the present aspect of the Caucasian Cambria, or Crimea, with that handed down in the old British tradition. It is still what the latter describes it as being 3,500 years ago. The east of it is covered by salt lagoons, a large portion occupied by the Sivash or Putrid Sea, the rest composed of spits, reefs, and sandbanks. The southern part, which they called the Summerland, Gwilad Yahav, is now known to richly merit the title. It is the Naples of the Russian Empire. So I'm going to leave that one there, guys. Like I say, it's very fascinating, very interesting. There's a lot of interesting talking points. The things I think I'd like people to remember from this video are the giants, the flood, an ark being built in Britain, and 2 people stepping off an ark and repopulating the earth. So we've got that to tie into the next video. And also remember the giants, because he made reference there of giants also when these peoples made the way back west. Obviously you had multiple versions of the Cimmery according to Reverend Morgan here. And what is fascinating, like I say, we're going to touch on all this kind of stuff in the next video, is, you know, this language structure is something I discussed about a year or so ago when I first started looking into like Britain's hidden history and all the things that come along with it, which actually turns out to like European history, doesn't it? We have this connection of like a runic writing system and this archaic form of writing. Now, I will be touching on writing as well in the next video as we look at some dates and try and build the picture, advance all these notions a bit further. That passage is loaded with information, and you could probably go through it, you know, like paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence even, and give it a thorough breakdown. But that's not the focus of today's video. Like I said, I don't want this one to be too long. It's more a case of getting what he said on the record, so when I reference it in the future, like I can say, well, it's there if people want to go and check it out. So I'm going to leave this one here. I hope you have a lovely weekend and a fantastic week. I'll catch up with you at some point through the week. Until then, stay safe. Peace.